Hey everybody, I wanted to give you a quick update. Well, I don't know if it's an update so much as it is a little story in connection with my, well, it's not so bad now, but what was my ongoing kind of YouTube copyright woes. For anybody who hasn't followed along, about maybe 4 months ago now, I was hit with a copyright strike from the wonderful folks over at Universal Music Group's anti-piracy department for a cover video I did approximately, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago, maybe more, maybe a little less. I can't really remember exactly. I think it was in 2017 sometime, by a very famous band who is known for going after anywhere from small YouTubers to big YouTubers, anybody using their music in any way that they see unfit. And they go after them and fill in all the paperwork and have copyright, have the videos taken down, and turn YouTube, puts a copyright strike up against the user who did it. And if you get 3 copyright strikes, you're out. You're banned from YouTube for life, and that's your punishment. So, it's pretty severe consequences. That led to me removing all the copyrighted cover music from my website. And just rewriting sort of some sound-alike ones or stuff that's in the ballpark to the originals that I used to showcase tones. Because, that's what I'm doing. I'm using these videos to showcase tones, and what better way to do it than to let people hear the tone with, the original song that it's kind of in the ballpark of or going after. But I did try to do a little bit of a funny video, I don't know, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I'm thinking, maybe a month ago, where I did a bit of a spoof on the Hotel California, which was the song that got taken down. And I really thought it over. I'm like, how can I do this so that it's A, still recognizable to the listener to, kind of know what I'm going after, and B, not so close that I'm going to get into more trouble for this, right? My first copyright strike had expired, so I figured I had a little bit of wiggle room there. Anyways, in my understanding of music copyright law is that a chord progression is not copyrightable. Lyrics are, a melody is, and that's maybe where the gray area comes in. A melody probably also in some ways needs a chord progression to be that melody, right? If we played the same melody over a completely different set of chords, it would likely take on a very different sound to it. So there are some gray areas here, right? I did a video about when I tried to upload a drum loop from Tune Track Superior Drummer 3, how I got flagged for just one of the generic drum loops that I pulled out from the Superior Drummer library. And it told me that it was an Alejandro Sanz song. And I just thought, oh my goodness, this is crazy. This is like a generic drum beat that's been in a million songs. But that was another video I did. So there's all sorts of craziness. So I thought this would be kind of an interesting story too. So what I did is, because of the fact that I realized that chord progressions are not copyrightable, I thought, what if I just try to do the same chord progression, or very, very, very close to Hotel California, and then I'll just improvise my own solos around it, really staying away from any of the licks that were used in the original. I thought, well, I'm not using the melody, I'm not using the lyrics. I'm going to program a drum part that's a different drum groove, different bass part. I added a little organ in there, and I didn't, even capo my guitar up here to give it that same sound. I kind of really tried to change enough things so that it wouldn't, could maybe fool the system into thinking it was hearing something different. And again, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with this, because I'm using a chord progression which is not copyrightable, right? If that was the case, every song with, G, C, D, E minor, which there's millions of, we would potentially have a problem, right? So that's not an issue. So what I did, as I always do, I shot the video, I created the backing track, I recorded all the parts, I shot the video of me just improvising 2 or 3 or 4 solos, I can't remember, I did like a trade-off thing, kind of like Hotel California was in the beginning. And I always do a test upload of that to YouTube to see if it gets flagged by the system. So I uploaded that, and whatever time it was, a minute or a minute plus, no problem. Didn't get flagged. It was monetized to me, not to anybody else. Wasn't sharing it. There was no recognition that this was a problem. And I let it sit for a day or two. Then the morning that I wanted to release the video, I got up and I shot the talking portion of the video, the story portion, where I sat here kind of doing my thing, explaining what I was up to. And then I was going to embed that music in the middle of it. and then explain it out. You know, trying to be a little bit humorous and having a little bit of fun with the whole situation. And that was released on the day that my copyright strike expired. So that was even kind of a thought out, planned approach. So I did all of that, and as I do, I shoot the videos in the morning a lot of times, as I am with this one, and I'll release it, you know, early afternoon. So I can throw these together pretty quick, especially just the talking portion of these. There's very little editing involved and whatnot. I just kind of talk, and then, you know, the odd time I do a little edit if I sneeze or cough or whatnot. So I did the talking portion of the video. I did the editing that morning, and I had the video ready to go by probably 11 or 11:30 a.m. And I upload it to YouTube, planning on releasing it maybe, you know, 30 minutes to 45 to an hour away from that point. Just as I sit down to start, you know, adding the description and the thumbnail and everything, I look at the video and it's been blocked. And I look why. It says, you know, click here to learn more. You've used the melody to Hotel California. And I thought, okay, what are you talking about? And I went back and I listened to the solos I did, the same solos that you folks heard when you listened to that video. There's no melody here. I mean, that's a unique chord progression, absolutely. It's not just your normal, you know, 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 6. There's some definite, almost melodic movement within it, I guess we could call it, which almost forces a player who's soloing to kind of follow those chords around a little bit. You know, B minor. Go to the F sharp 7th. So yeah, obviously, you know, if I'm soloing around in B minor, when that F sharp 7 comes around, I'm going to want to pick a chord tone from that chord. So I was like, well, there's really no melody here. So they're implying that the original Hotel California chord progression has the melody embedded in it? Well, I don't know. So here I was at this funny point where I was like, that's the video I plan to release today. This is a real downer, because I was like, I thought this was going to be a good video. And it was really well received, and a lot of people, I had a lot of great positive comments on it, and people found it enjoyable, which is what this is all about. So I thought, what can I do? I don't want to have to recut this. And then if I have to change it so much, people aren't even going to get the kind of joke here. So I thought, is there any way I can go in without recutting the solos? Because the whole video I did was just me soloing. And I thought, could I do it so that I change that chord progression enough that it still fits with the solo I did, and it still kind of gets away from Hotel California, but still would get the point across. So let's take a look here at what I did. So first and foremost, here's the chords that I originally used that is basically exactly the same as Hotel California. So I started off, and I'm going to play these chords disjointed on purpose so that this doesn't get flagged, because we all know now that these chords are owned by the Eagles, apparently. YouTube's told us this now. So now I realize this. So B minor, F sharp 7th, A, E, G, D, E minor, a little pause here just so that we don't get in any trouble, F sharp. You know, and you can kind of solo around those somewhat in that manner. All 4 beats each. So that's what I originally had for the original version I had. Sorry about the audio. I don't really have this mic'd up. I just grabbed my this beautiful Martin 000 28 that I recently acquired. So what I did is I kept this. I soloed obviously around that in that manner. You know, kind of pinpointing chord tones and whatnot, and it was great. I loved it. Sounded nothing like Hotel California. Like I said, different drum groove, different bass line. I added some organ. I had the guitars just going. You know, this type of a thing, right? So I went in and I said, okay, what I can do is I could really quickly re-record the rhythm guitars, change the bass line because that was programmed bass line. I could alter the chords for the organ that I had in there. Drum beat's fine. And I came up with this. I went with B minor, 4 beats. F sharp 7th for 4 beats. So that was the same. Then on the A, I decided to go 2 beats on A and then do kind of a transition down to the E major. So like this, it was 1, 2. So A to G for a beat, to D slash F sharp, D with a D major with an F sharp in the bass, to an E major. So I thought, okay, that's slightly different, but I got to change up the next line even more. So I went to the G just like the normal one. Now instead of going 4 beats on D and then 4 beats on E minor, I went D for 2, A for 2, E minor for 2, G for 2, and then to the F sharp at the end. So that last line would have been this. Now, I picked those chords because they I found they kept the integrity of the chord progression kind of together so it wouldn't be totally different, but they also fit with the notes that I was kind of soloing around, so I didn't have to recut all of the solos again. So I was just like, that morning, I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. I mean, I do everything I can to avoid it and, you know, look into the copyright law and to my understanding of it and whatnot, and this system still flags it. So far, I've had a legitimate strike against me because I did copy note for note with a backing track exactly like the Eagles Hotel California. That I don't have too many complaints about. I mean, it is what it is. They owned that. I've had a video blocked for a generic drum loop that I pulled out of the Tune Track Superior Drummer 3 library for like 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. I can't remember how much of it played, probably only a couple bars. And that video was blocked and I had to edit that portion out. I had another video blocked because I used the same chord progression with no melody or any other elements the same until I changed the chords up as I just showed you now. And the thing that really I found surprising was that when I first uploaded as a test to see if it would get through the system, it did. It wasn't flagged. It's not until I added all the talking and narration around it where I was talking about copyright issues and whatnot. That's what I found interesting. So I was like, did this get flagged because of the music or a combination of the music and discussing copyright? Like, I don't even know how this is working. Kind of crazy stuff, but I thought it was a fun story. Listen, there's always a way to take bad situations and make them better. And, you know, I think that's something we should all live by, especially nowadays. But that was kind of fun, and I thought I would share that with you, what I did. So those, and I thought it'd be interesting to see kind of the changes I made. So I'll link the original video with the, my song, of course, was called Cotel California, a very completely original name that just came to me one morning as I was doing that. It seemed like the perfect name for the song. So that, you know, that's what you can listen to in that video. And you can go hear it now, kind of knowing the changes that I made and the fun that I had with it. So anyways, I thought you guys might enjoy that story. I hope you did. Sorry about the audio on the guitar. It's just picking up on my lapel mic. This wasn't all about great production here. It was more just about getting a story out there. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Here, let's keep our fingers crossed to no more copyright problems, and we'll keep going from there, and I'll keep pushing the limits and see what I can get away with. No, not really. I've been enjoying doing the original music so much more, to be honest with you, and it's fun, but yeah, anyways, I'll have much more coming. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. I hope you found that mildly entertaining and enjoyable, and maybe informative too for anybody else who's doing videos, just to know what they could have to watch for if they're doing similar things. So I'll be back soon with some more content, guys. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and ciao for now.